Michael Moreland was on parole, not probation as stated in the search warrant. Conditions of parole. The prisoner while on parole remains in the legal custody of the department, but is subject to the orders of the parole board. Probationer or parolee must not act or make any agreement with law enforcement agency to act as a confidential informant without first getting the court's permission. You might be asking, what is a confidential informant? The federal government defines a confidential informant as a defendant who engages in the prohibited activity of associating with persons engaged in criminal activity for the purpose of furnishing information to or acting as an agent for a law enforcement or intelligence agency. His cell phone played a major part in his second criminal offense. Listen to how the newspaper describes his crime.
Rapist accused of urging young victim to kill herself as he watched on Skype. Billings, Montana, AP. A Montana man in prison for raping a girl starting when she was 12 is now charged with trying to persuade her to kill herself by cutting her wrists and taking prescription medication while he watched on a webcam. Michael John Moreland, 21, was out on bail on the rape charges when he spoke with the then 15-year-old girl via Skype last September and told her to commit suicide while he watched to make sure she was doing it right, charging documents said. The girl told investigators that when she started crying, Moreland told her to stop wasting air and get it over with. The teen said Moreland, who is from Roundup, repeatedly told her to kill herself. When she started cutting her wrists, he told her to cut deeper and then told her to take a handful of antidepressants, court records said. She took the pills, then panicked, disconnected the call, and went to her parents for help, prosecutors said. Moreland is serving a 7-year prison sentence for raping the girl. He was charged with 2 felony counts of sexual intercourse without consent in the fall of 2012. Prosecutors alleged he had a sexual relationship with the girl from April 2011, when she was 12, through July 2012. He pleaded guilty to the rape charges in November. District Judge Randall Spalding sentenced him to 15 years in prison with 8 suspended and added 5 years after revoking Moreland's suspended sentence from a 2009 drug distribution case. Moreland is scheduled to be arraigned Monday in Musselshell County on the new charges: aiding or soliciting suicide, intimidation, and tampering with witnesses or informants. He is expected to appear from prison via video. County officials say Moreland does not have an attorney for the latest charges. Aiding or soliciting suicide carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison. Information from the Billings Gazette, HT.
This was the third time Moreland was out of prison on parole. He violated his parole for failing a drug test for methamphetamines. He is in custody all day until the Alphabet Boys finally show up. He makes a bunch of baseless claims but promises to prove it if they will release him from custody. He admits to other parole or probation violations, and they let the motherfucker out to go be a government spy. Granted, the Fourth Amendment good faith exception probably trumps my argument, but come on. Doesn't this make the confidential informant a state agent, and a warrant would be required before collecting evidence from my garage? And if the state disagrees, they have the burden of proof and be required to prove the confidential informant was not acting on the state's behalf. Which seems like an uphill battle for the state. But on the law requires this type of felony interrogation be electronically recorded, so they would have to provide us the recording,
right? It doesn't
right?
take an overly creative mind to say, well, if you were fired.
It's clear that Michael's story isn't
Nathan
fooling
Robbins
anyone.
appeared
As
like he
detectives
was
continue
trying
to
to be
question him
upset.
about Denise's troubling disappearance. The gravity of the
Whiny
situation
voice,
had
the high pitch, it was overdone.
First of all, if at any time you
husband.
change your mind
profound
or
anguish
don't like my
speaks
attitude, whatever, you
volumes.
tell me to goes off, okay? How do you know? Is this her ring?
We learned that Nathan Robbins had been in a fight with Michael Martinez the night before. It doesn't take an overly creative mind to say, well, if you were
Did the ring slip off her finger accidentally, or did she
Nathan Robbins
cleverly
appeared like he was trying to be upset. Nathan Robbins appeared like he was trying to be upset. The whiny voice, the high pitch, it was overdone. The whiny voice, the high pitch,
First of all,
it was overdone.
anytime you change your mind and
First of all,
anytime you
tell me to close off.
change
Okay?
your mind and you don't like my attitude or whatever,
How do you
tell me to close off, okay?
How do you know?
We learned that Nathan Robbins had been in a fight with Michael Martinez the night before. That Nathan Robbins had been in a fight. It doesn't take Michael Martinez an overly creative mind to say. It doesn't take an overly creative mind to say, well, if you were fighting.
husband? His profound anguish speaks volumes.
Is this her ring?
Yes. That's not the first ring I gave her for Valentine's Day.